Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Now, this is my special episode that I told you I was going to do for you probably a little over a week ago. You might guess from the sound of my voice that I am behind on it because I have literally been in bed sick. And so feeling well enough to be recording, and so hopefully I don't annoy you too much with the rough or raspiness of the voice, but we are going to get this one going for you because I promised it to you, and I apologize. It has taken this long for me to get it to you. It's about marketing, and we're talking about marketing your business, improving your visibility by speaking. Now, I told several of you in my audience in a couple of different places that I am going to be doing a fair amount of speaking coming up in the next few months. And as I've made my contacts with people or made my connections with people and started to put a few things in place for myself, I realized that I really haven't talked about how you can do this for your business too. It's such a really important way to get comfortable sharing what it is that you know how to do, and that's what I want to talk about today. Today's quote is from Seth Godin. Marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories you tell. Now, I don't want you to freak out because I'm talking about speaking, like public speaking, right? Because I want you to take Seth's advice here. It's not about selling yourself. Networking and getting together in conversation with people about how you can help them is never about selling yourself. It's about just telling them how you can help them. What are your skills? What is your experience and your expertise that you can bring to them? And stories is the best way to do that. Enter speaking, right? Okay, let's go. So speaking is one of the most powerful ways to tell your story, to share your expertise, and to connect with potential clients in a way that written content just can't always do. People don't have the time. When I say speaking, I don't just mean getting on a big stage in front of hundreds of people. So don't get worried that you have to all of a sudden become some kind of international speaker. I'm talking about all forms of speaking: small workshops, guest trainings, podcast interviews, networking events, even showing up live in somebody else's community, especially showing up live in somebody else's community. It's one of the most powerful ways to position yourself as an expert, build trust with that audience quickly, and attract the higher quality clients that you're looking for. And the best part is you don't need a huge audience to make it work. So if you've been relying mostly on social media posts or the written word, or you're waiting for referrals, making connections, this episode might just open up a whole new lane for you. I really hope it does. So before you get all nervous about making a big signature talk, that's not what I'm telling you to do. Let's get into why speaking as a tactic works. When someone hears you speak, something shifts that doesn't happen with written content on its own. They hear your voice, as rough as mine may be. Hello, you hear mine. But they understand then how you think. They get a sense of your personality. They feel like they get to know you, and they start to trust you faster. And trust is the thing that gets people to hire you. I say that all the time. If a client doesn't trust you, it's much harder for them to make the decision to part with their money, isn't it? A potential client can read 10 of your posts in 10 minutes and still not feel 100% sure about working with you or reaching out to you. But if they listen to you speak for 5, 10, 20 minutes, they can walk away thinking, I need to work with this person. It's the power of speaking, and it really is that. It's very powerful. It speeds up time. It increases that trust factor really quickly. It positions you as someone who knows what they're doing, who knows what they're talking about. And as for virtual assistants, especially those who want to charge higher rates and work with better clients, this helps a lot. It matters. Now, before you start thinking this isn't for you, let's expand what speaking actually looks like. It's not keynote stages, not just keynote stages, like I said. It can look like being a guest on someone's podcast. Hi. Hosting a free or paid workshop of your own. Doing a training inside of a Facebook group or a membership. Speaking at a local networking event. Running a webinar. Participating in a virtual summit or conference. Or going live in collaboration with another business owner. There are so many ways to speak and so many opportunities, and a lot of them are a whole lot more accessible than you think they are. I've done so much speaking since 2010, and you definitely don't have to do as much speaking as I have. But you might not even know how I started. I started by speaking to my clients' clients. I've told you before that my niche, or the people that I worked with, were 6- and 7-figure business coaches. Those coaches ran group coaching programs. They had training calls, group sessions, and guest expert calls. And I became one of their guest experts. Think about it. Every one of their clients needed a VA like me. They were learning to grow their own coaching business from my clients, right? And of course, they needed support to do it. So it made perfect sense for me to be their resident guest expert because I gave them very valuable information about how to get started with support, or how to hire a better VA, or how to grow their business with a virtual assistant. It was super easy for me to do that speaking because I knew far more about what they needed than they did. And that's really all you need. It became the springboard for me to become a coach myself and for my speaking to the VA community. Now, you don't have to become a VA coach. You can if you want to, but if you are working with a particular industry or niche, and if they host their own clients on training calls, this could be a really great way for you to get in front of their people who could become your clients. But that's just one place to speak. See that? We'll talk about a bunch of others in a couple minutes. But here's the shift that I want you to understand. When you're posting on social media, you are one of many, many voices. When you're speaking, you are the voice. Just the one. Even if it's just for a short time, you are the one teaching, you're the one guiding, you're the one people are listening to. And that immediately elevates your positioning. You're not any longer just seen as just another VA. You're seen as someone who has expertise, perspective, and leadership and shares that. And that's exactly what higher level clients are looking for. They don't want someone who just completes tasks. They want someone who understands strategy, who can think, and who can contribute. Speaking allows you to demonstrate that in real time. Speaking helps you communicate the way you work in your own words, and it brings your personality into your business too. And I will always tell you that your personality is so important, especially in your marketing. It can be the difference maker for someone who is trying to decide who they should hire as their VA. But what should you speak about? This is where a lot of VAs get stuck. They think, what would I even talk about? Don't overcomplicate this. Start with what you already know, like I did, and what your ideal clients need. Think about, what problems do your clients have? What questions do they ask you? What do you help them with on a regular basis? That's your content. If you're a social media VA, maybe you speak about consistency in content planning or engagement strategies. If you're an admin VA, you might speak about organization, systems, or time management. Or if you're more advanced, you might speak about scaling workflows and improving efficiency in a business. You're not trying to teach everything, and you're not trying to teach someone else's thing. You're giving a focused and valuable piece that shows how you think and how you actually help. I've spoken about a lot of different things over the years. In the beginning, I talked about how I helped my clients. I helped many of my clients plan and host online conferences, telesummits, we called them way back then. And now they're called summits or digital conferences, online conferences. So it was easy for me to find topics to support that service without just selling that service. I talked about webinar platforms, processes and checklists, event planning, all the things that I actually did for my clients. I talked about events that I had helped with, what my role was on the team, and how it made things easier for my clients. It was storytelling, plain and simple. I'm not sure that I knew it was at the time, but it was. And the easiest way to come up with content is to tell a story about how you helped a client. We used to call them case studies. That seemed so daunting to me. Oh my goodness, what is this important case that I talk about? But storytelling is just that. Hey, I helped this person or this company or this client with this event or setup or follow up or, management, moderation, anything like that. What are the things that you helped them with? Just tell the story about it, how you made something better for someone else based on the expertise that you bring. Now, how to turn speaking into clients. Well, this is the important part. Speaking isn't just about visibility. It's not about just being the person that people see. It's about conversion. It's marketing. So it's definitely about trying to get the clients, right? You want people to walk away from your talk or your speaking thinking that was helpful. I would like to speak to them further. There's a couple different ways to do that. First of all, you have to be clear on who you're speaking to. Your content should be very specific, not general. You have to speak to a very specific audience or even a single person in that audience for speaking to be most effective. Second, you want to give value, but do not try to give everything. Leave room for them to want deeper support. We call this telling the why, but not the how. And that can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes too, because we feel like we have to tell people how we're doing things to validate ourselves. But that's really where we want to draw the line. We don't want them to be able to go off and do something after listening to us speak and not need our services, right? It's a bit of a fine line, but once you get there and once you understand it, it really does make a lot of sense. And the third is always have a clear next step. What do they need to do after that talk? It could be working with you, joining a program you have, booking a call, downloading a resource, attending another training. It's called a call to action, right? It's you want to tell them what to do next. And if you don't guide them on what to do next, many of them will do nothing. They'll say, wow, that was great, and leave, even if they loved your session. I've messed this up an awful lot, so I don't want you to. Never, ever forget to tell them what to do next. To get in touch with you, to connect with you, to download something so they're on your mailing list, something. As I said, it's called a call to action. You're calling them to action. And usually your best call to action as a VA looking for clients is how to book a call with you. Now, sometimes people get shy to do that because they sense that it will be a sales call, which honestly, it often becomes. A download can be a great idea, but my favorite call to action for the beginning talks you're going to do is connecting with you on social media. Think Messenger. Now that you know the kinds of speaking I'm talking about, let's talk about where these opportunities actually come from. Opportunities don't just appear. You have to find them. Sometimes you have to create them. So start with your existing network. Who do you know that already has an audience? Hi. Who runs a group, a membership, or a program? Oh, hi. And who has a podcast, maybe? Hello. Reach out and offer to do a training or be a guest. I invite you to please get in contact with me and tell me what you would like to talk to people about on my podcast or in some of my trainings, if that's what you want to do. Keep it simple. You don't need a long pitch. But as I say, I invite you as a VA coach, try it out on me. I can help you out. Does it mean that you'll be a guest on my podcast or in one of my trainings? Not all the time, but if you get into the sort of details of what it is that you know, I would give you a pretty good shot. I love to provide content for my audience that is really important to them or really valuable to them. And so at the very least, if we can start a conversation, the two of us, I would love to be able to help you with that. And if my audience is not your people, then I'd like to at least help you get sorted out to go and find your people and reach out to them. But you can say something like, I'd love to come in and do a training for your audience on XYZ topic. I think it would really support them with XYZ result, right? That's it. You can also look for podcast guest applications, summits and virtual events, local business networking groups, online communities in your niche, anything. Remember, you want to be able to reach your audience, not necessarily my audience, but yours. And the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities you're going to be able to see. And if you think about it, you aren't offering to sell anyone anything. You're offering to bring education and value to their audience, like I said. You get visibility, you get practice speaking and communicating about speaking, and they get the information that they're also curious about. That was one of the things that I really was surprised about when I first started having, doing the speaking for my clients to their clients. They were hanging on every word because they really had so many questions about working with a virtual assistant. And I had the answers. I didn't even know that I had the answers until they asked what seemed to be really simple questions to me. And it will be the same for you, I promise you. Over time, you might even get invitations to speak, but there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people to ask. I don't think of it as a pitch. Maybe some people would, but to me, is a pitch is when I want them to help promote me, or when I want to sell something to their people, right? Yes, okay, you maybe want to get clients from it, but you really are providing some expertise that you have free, and it's for their people. So I think it's really important. I mean, you want to sell something, but it shouldn't start like that, if you get my drift. It should be a, hey, I've prepared this talk that I think would be really helpful for your clients or your audience. If you're interested in having me speak, I'm available. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. And I think that's hardly a pitch. Now, of course, we cannot, or maybe I cannot, talk about speaking without talking about confidence. I talk about that a lot, don't I? But because this is where many VAs hold themselves back. They think, I'm not ready. I don't know enough. Who would listen to me? Trust me. I've had these exact same thoughts. I've been there. I've done that. I've written the book on it. Not literally, but you know what I mean. If you really don't think anyone would listen to something you have to say, then you haven't pinned down your thing yet. Your audience, your services, something. If you're stuck, please reach out to me. I can help you cut right through to the chase on this one for you, I promise. If you're stuck, reach out. You don't need to be the most experienced person in the room. You just need to be a few steps ahead of the people you're helping. And you need to be willing to show up and share. Confidence is built through action. I said this in the last series. Confidence can come before action, but most often it comes after it. The first time you speak, it might feel a little nerve-wracking, a little uncomfortable. The second time, a little better. Over time, it just becomes natural. And every time you do it, you reinforce your expertise, both to others and to yourself. I've been super nervous in talk. I have flubbed up my presentation. I've forgotten stuff. I've forgotten to tell people how to get in touch with me afterwards. You might make mistakes, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, just like anything. The best way to showcase you is to have a great host. I like to think I'm a great host. I prep you a little ahead of time to tell you what I'll say. I can even send questions ahead of time if it helps prepare. And during the interview, I ask clarifying questions if something doesn't sound clear. I guide the interview. And when you have someone do that for you, the chance of you making mistakes is a lot lower. I love it when I have a great host who's interviewing me. And if you're doing a demo or a presentation or PowerPoint, there is more room for error. I will always take an interview over a presentation anymore. I just think they're so much better. They're easier. There's less prep for sure. And it's just storytelling, which is, of course, what Seth and I told you off the top of today's episode. It's the best way to tell people how you can help them. I love my podcast, this podcast. I don't talk to other people most times, but I do hope you feel that I'm talking to you. It's the same thing. So, if you're listening to this and thinking, I want to try this, let me give you a simple starting point. Pick one topic that you feel confident speaking about. Create a simple outline. It does not need to be perfect. Reach out to 3 to 5 people who have access to your ideal audience. Offer to do a short training or to be their guest. And that's it. You don't need a big plan. You just need to start. And once you do one, it becomes easier to do the next. And over time, this can become a consistent marketing channel for your business. And because I absolutely walk my talk, I want you to know that if you want to be a guest on this podcast, I would love for you to reach out and connect with me. Even if you don't know what you would talk about, I promise you that you have expertise that your audience would love to hear about. Speaking is not just about getting clients right now. It's about building your reputation, It's about becoming known for something. It's about positioning yourself as someone who leads, not just supports. And that has a long-term impact on your business. It opens doors, it creates opportunities, and it brings in better clients. And it allows you to grow in a way that feels aligned and sustainable. If you want support with this, whether it's choosing your topic, structuring your training, or building the confidence to actually put yourself out there, that's exactly the kind of work we do inside my programs. I help virtual assistants not just build a business, but show up in a way that attracts the right clients and opportunities. So if that's something you're ready for, come and work with me. Getting visibility is about getting as many eyes and ears on your business as possible. And I guarantee you, from personal experience and professional, that speaking is a great way to do that. It's marketing, and I can definitely help you with marketing. Go to yourvamentor.com/links to connect with me, and let's talk about how I can help you get clients. If you've been looking for a way to stand out, to build confidence, and to attract better clients, speaking is something I highly recommend you start exploring. You don't have to wait till you feel ready. You just need to start. I'm going to end it here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your patience with the voice. If you're ready to take the next step in building a more confident, profitable VA business, please be sure to check out my programs and resources at yourvamentor.com/links. I'm here to help. I'm Tracy Daviero, and I can't wait to help you attract better clients, raise your rates, and grow a business that truly reflects your skills. Until next time, keep showing up, taking action, and being ridiculously good at what you do. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time.